And welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Pride of the Poconos podcast. I am your host, Zach Sterniolo, sports writer over at the Pocono Record. Proud to welcome our first student athletes to the podcast this week. We have two super talented players from Pocono Mountain East leading the EPC in points scored this year in girls soccer. We'll make it short and quick. Taylor Caridi and Kayla Argen, welcome to the podcast, and thank you both for joining here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
It's been a crazy season for both of you so far. Taylor, you've got 16 goals and 4 assists. Kayla, already 10 goals and 16 assists. I'll start with you, Kayla. What's this kind of the start of the season been like for you? Did you expect, I mean, we're only 7 games in. It seems like it's come fairly quickly here.
I mean, in the summer, I saw the team. We were young. There's a lot of freshmen, and we started working hard. And when the games started to come, I realized like how good we could be, and we're all just working so hard to get to the end. I mean, it's our senior year. I know I want it really bad. I know a lot of the seniors want it really bad, and the incoming freshmen are really helping us out.
You've got 16 assists. Taylor, you've got 16 goals. I don't know if those numbers exactly match up, if all those goals are off of her assists. But you've found something that's working for you. I think you're at 78 career goals now as of right now. Kind of eyeing that school record. What's been working for you so far, specifically this season?
Well, playing with Kayla for the past couple years, the chemistry built between us, and the rush I feel and she feels on the field that we're seniors just makes us work even harder to obtain our goal and work hard and just win the games together.
What's kind of been the progression of your chemistry together? Because I know Coach Smith was telling me that you've been playing together since 7th grade now. I mean, you're in your senior year. Everything has really kind of evolved to this point. How has that developed over these last, I guess, 5 or so years?
Well, when we started, it was an instant match and an instant click that we would work good together. We both had skill and we just knew it, and we both wanted to we wanted to make each other better, and we would push each other to our limits and just make each other better.
Kayla, for you, what's it been like from your perspective?
I mean, it's been great. Also, off the field, we're best friends, so I think that has a good, idea of why we're so good on the field together, because it's not like we're trying to get against each other. We're both trying to reach 2 different goals, but around the same, and, we both know we want that, so.
Was that always the case? Did you guys click right off the bat?
Yes. From 7th grade, that was the first time I actually met Taylor in 7th grade soccer. I didn't know who she was, and then we started playing together, and instantly we've just become best friends.
Now, Kayla, for you, what position do you play on this team, and how has your role developed over these last 4 years?
I play center mid, and over these past 4 years, I've learned to not only be a better player for myself, but for my team. As a freshman, you come in and sometimes you're worried about what you have to do, what your pass is going to be like. But now I think about the whole team, and that's also has to do with being a captain and just being experienced on the field and playing, just playing a long time.
Career-wise, you have more assists than you do goals. I feel like that really speaks to that team mindset. How do you try to set up those passes to goal scorers like Taylor?
I mean, coming from the center mid, I'm always dribbling down the field, and I see the field very well. I think that's one of my better qualities is my vision, and Taylor always seems to get open for me, and we just work that chemistry together. So I'd like to give her the pass sometimes instead of shooting it, or vice versa.
Taylor, for you, what position do you play? And along the same lines, how has your play and your spot on this team really developed over these past 4 years?
Well, I play forward or striker. Well, up top, I work with a freshman, and it took a little bit to get used to because I'm used to working with Kayla and getting through balls by her and everything. I mean, I still do, but I still got to get the chemistry going with Alyssa up top with me. And it's been going good. It's a team effort, of course, but we just push together and it'll work out.
Thinking back to 2015, you were the Pocono Record Player of the Year that year. You were showing signs then of what your ability and potential was at that time, and it seems like you've been able to capitalize on that over these past two seasons. Is there anything that you've done off the field that's helped when you get onto the field, or has that just been a natural progression for you through gaining more experience?
It's basically a natural experience for me because when I just step on the field, I always give 110%. No matter like how down I am, how I feel, I always just leave my soul out on the field.
So Kayla, for you, when did you start actually playing and getting involved with the sport? Obviously, I know you've been associated with East since 7th grade, but did you start playing any time before that?
Yeah, my mom actually got me into it when I was around like 6 years old, and I just started playing small summer league. And then as I grew older, I grew more love for the game, and I just decided on my own. She never really pushed, like she pushes me to be a better player now, but she never like forced me to play or anything. I just fell in love with it.
What was it about the sport that really drew you to it once you started playing?
For me, like I've always been like such a tomboy, and I guess like it's the most competitive girl sport in my eyes. Like I always went out there and you could be aggressive, you could score goals, it was just about the rush for me that intrigued me.
Taylor, what about for you?
I'm along the same lines because I was a tomboy growing up, and I always used to play with the boys and always just go hard, and I always liked competition, and soccer really brought that to me, and I always went like so hard in the game, and it just brought like enthusiastic out.
When you're playing against guys like that, how does that help you kind of develop your own game? Because obviously there's always some differences between the boys' game and the girls' game. Mm-hmm. I feel like aggression is shown in different ways through the boys and the girls' games. What did playing against those guys help teach you, if anything?
It taught me like stability and like just the challenge, and that bringing the boys' challenge and competition into the girls' league, it taught me to be just more like a leader and teach them to be more like bigger than themselves and to be more competitive.
Did you ever play travel soccer? I know Kayla, you're on FC Pocono. What about for you, Taylor?
Yeah, I play for Match Fit ECNL in New Jersey.
How has that been able to help you when you're playing Eastern Pennsylvania Conference teams like your Whitehalls, your Eastons, teams like that? How does playing that travel game really build you for the competition you see on a regular basis during the high school season?
I just take the skills I get from the training and the games from there, and I bring it to the fields here, and I just give it all I have and show coach and my team that I'm there for them, I'm the leader, and I'm going to help them all out to achieve our goal and win.
What about for you, Kayla? I know FC Pocono has a lot of different players from a lot of teams in our area, whether it's Northampton County, Monroe County. It's a fairly diverse group of kids on that team. What can you gather from that, and what's it like to play alongside people you're playing against during the high school season?
Yeah, it's actually very cool because if you look at like my club team and like they all come from like schools around like Bangor, Pleasant Valley, Stroudsburg, there's one thing about us that I feel like from our club team that we all have, and like I can give it all up to my FC Pocono coach, is our foot skill. Like I come here, our coach always like asks me to show the girls moves and stuff like that. Like we all have that like foot skill, and like that stands out, and I think that's why like in all-star teams and stuff like that, like some of the girls from my FC Pocono team just stand out because like I think foot skill has a big thing to do with catching someone's eye or like just something like that.
I want to transition to some of the off-the-field subjects. I know being in high school, it's tough to manage being both a student and an athlete simultaneously. Taylor, for you, what's it like trying to find that balance of taking care of your academic responsibilities while also trying to excel when you're on the field?
Well, I think time management is key, and organization skills, and that's one of my strong points because when I'm working off the field and I'm doing my homework or something and I have a game tomorrow, I always push myself to do harder in academics, and it makes me even do better in athletics.
Kayla, for you, what's it like trying to find that balance that Taylor was just talking about?
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to find that happy medium, but when you're on the field and you work hard, the second you step off, I automatically just get the feeling to work hard when I have homework or other academic responsibilities that will come first.
With that said, I know social media is also a big part of this generation, and I know that it plays such a big role in our lives now. I know I'm on Twitter all the time trying to check different scores and keep up with different people. Kayla, I know you're on Twitter. How social media as a whole, what are the benefits that you see from it, and kind of the negatives of it as well?
I think for people who are in other sports, it helps for when you're tweeting and posting things about other sports to keep up. Because I know for me, like, I'm not just a competitive person in soccer. Like, I enjoy going home on Sundays and watching football, and I get into that or other things. So when you're tweeting, like, scores of other teams and stuff, like, I also find that intriguing. And I think for some people, it could be, like, a confidence builder if you, like, tweet something good about them or if they had a good game. Like, kids in our generation sometimes like to have that confidence. Like, it gives them that, like, I don't know, little source of energy.
Sure, kind of like a confidence boost, if you will.
Yeah.
Taylor, for you, what do you feel like social media's role is for student athletes in this age?
Well, I feel like it definitely boosts their confidence in entering the games they play or sports they do, and just spreading the word to get the young ones in the game too, and just giving them the confidence and energy to come into the game.
I know being seniors, you've been through or have been going through the recruiting process of college as well. Kayla, you committed to Kutztown, if I'm not mistaken, even during the summer prior to your junior year. What goes into that process, especially at such a young age, to when you're trying to find a college that suits you, that you feel like you'll be comfortable at when you graduate from high school in 2 years?
Yes, well, at that age, I realized, well, a few years before, that I wanted to play college soccer. And so at a very young age, probably around freshman year, I started going to ID clinics and getting myself out there and even just visiting the soccer atmosphere. And when I was older, I would go more into the academic atmosphere. And the second I stepped onto Kutztown and I met the coach and I met some players, I just automatically fell in love with it, and it gave me that home feeling. And when I'm away from home, I want to be able to have that home feeling, and that's what that college gave to me.
2 years later now, you're in the middle of your senior season. Have you been back recently, and is that feeling still the same as it was 2 years ago?
Yes, of course. Actually, I just went to one of their games a week ago, and every time I'm there, I say hi to the coach, say hi to the players, and it's just a great feeling. And right now they're 6-0, so I'm just excited for them and to be able to play with them too.
Taylor, for you, I know you've committed to University of Buffalo. Congratulations on that. What was the recruiting process like for you? Obviously, we talked about it earlier. You've been a goal scorer your entire career. How do these schools and scouts approach you, and what was the process like from your personal perspective?
Well, it started like basically freshman year. Even before that, I was going to ID clinics. I was visiting colleges. I was traveling across the country for college showcases, and there'd be over like 400 coaches that would come, and they would just email me, and I would go visit them. I would email them back and just see the academic side and athletic side of them.
What made you feel like Buffalo was the place that you wanted to, or that you felt like was the right fit for you?
When I stepped foot on there, I got the vibe that this is where I want to be for the rest of my 4 years. And I just came back from my official visit, so I stayed in the house with the seniors and juniors, and I even felt more at home with them, and I just knew that that's where I want to be.
If there was one piece of advice you would give to other student athletes who are going through that process or are looking to get into that process, what would be your advice to them?
My advice would be to take your time and choose wisely.
Kayla, for you?
My advice would be like to wait, and you will know when it's the school you're going to end up going to. You, like we said, we both got that feeling. Like, I knew. You'll get the feeling.
Along the same lines of college, what do you, I mean, I know it's still early, but is there anything that either of you feel like you've decided you want to pursue as far as like a major, or are you kind of waiting to figure that out still?
For my 4 years, I want to do biomedical engineering. I get the engineering from my brother, and he graduated from Penn State, so engineering is very in my family.
Has that always been something that you've kind of been interested in as well?
I've always been interested in the engineering field, but as I got older, I was more specific about it, and I got biomedical.
That's great that you have that solid of an idea of what you want, because I know a lot of kids kind of struggle on finding that one thing. What about you, Kayla?
Yeah, and that kid is me. I struggle very much with that. And I think it also has something to do with my whole life I've been like good at soccer. And it's sometimes hard to find something that you think you could be good at again. So I'm trying to find like, along with soccer, like what else I could be good at. And I know it's out there, I just haven't decided what that will be yet.
No, it's definitely a tough process to try to narrow those things down. Let's talk about life outside the sport. I know we were just talking about how soccer's really been your life, Kayla. Mm-hmm. I know you earlier talked about football. Sundays you're getting ready to watch the games. Do you have a favorite football team, and what are you interested in away from soccer?
Yes, I do. I'm actually a Vikings fan. Super random, I know. My stepdad is a Vikings fan, and I've lived with him for so many years that I just became a Vikings fan.
Okay.
And I'm also a big like family person, so that brings it to like Sundays, and I'm the youngest of 7, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did any of your other siblings play any sports?
Yes, my older brother PJ, he played football for the school. Older brother Donnie, he was a motocross rider. And then my sister Morgan played basketball for the school and tennis.
So your whole family has been really ingrained in
we're pretty
Pocono
competitive.
East athletics. I assume that's helped fuel a lot of your competitiveness.
Definitely, especially being the youngest. I've always looked up to them and what they have to put out, and I've decided to work hard too at it.
Sure. Any other sports outside of football?
Football is definitely my favorite to watch off the field, even more than soccer sometimes. But no, it's pretty much football and soccer I like to watch.
Taylor, what about for you?
I love football, watching it. My favorite team is the Giants.
Thank you. Someone with common sense around here.
How's Odell?
Oh, that hurts. How's Odell? Oh, go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, my family's very competitive, especially because my dad is a 49ers fan. So that, like, collides. And I love watching basketball, too. And my team for that's Golden State. So my brother played baseball for Penn State and for the school. And my other brother, he's a computer freak, so he got his master's in computer science. So.
Wow. So again, that kind of goes back to the engineering you were talking about too. Just kind of the smart genes really run deep in the family. I'm just glad you're a Giants fan. Is there anything that we haven't talked about here that either of you want to mention here? I know the season's gone very well for you both so far. What do you feel like the outlook is for the rest of the season? I mean, we're only 7 games in, but things look like they're going in the right direction.
Well, I would just like to add that, like, even though our stats show that us two, for most of the time, are either scoring or assisting, like, our teammates have a lot to do with it. And I think from the beginning, every single one of them on the field has been working their butt off just as much as we have. And I'd like to give that to them.
Taylor, for you, anything else?
No, I agree. Like, it's just not us. It's a team effort, and we couldn't have done it without them.
That's all we've got for today's episode. Be sure to check out tomorrow's episode. We've got a new edition of our Pocono Record football picks with me, Mike Coons, and Sean Succi. You can find us on Twitter at Pocono Podcast. This podcast can be found on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, wherever or however you're listening. That way we can hear your feedback, what you think of what we should do next, and that way you don't miss out on any of our latest episodes. This podcast has been brought to you by PoconoRecord.com/contests. Last year we gave away over $20,000 in prizes, so be sure to visit often to see what we're giving away next. Again, that is PoconoRecord.com/contests. That's all we've got for today. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, take care.